Good day, everyone. This is me, Eliza Bersetti from grade 11 STEM 17. And today's video tackles about the rational function and inverse function. Now, are you ready to listen? Let's take a look. Okay, first we need to know a rational function. What is a rational function? A rational function is a function of the form f of x is equal to p of x over q of x, where p of x and q of x are polynomial functions and q of x is not equal to zero function. Now, rational function is useful in solving real-life situation. Now, let's take a look to some example of problem involving a rational function. Sam can finish his mathematics portfolio in 3 hours, while Jay can finish the same job in 5 hours. If their teacher asks them to work together in finishing the mathematics portfolio, how long will it take them finish the work? Okay, so let's proceed to our solution. So since that the question is, how long will it take them to finish the work? Step 1. Represent the unknown in the problem. So since that Sam can finish the work in 3 hours, so we can do 1/3. 1/3 of the work in an hour, right? While Jay can finish in 5 hours. So he can do 1/5. 1/5 of the work in an hour. So the question is, if these two, Sam and Jake, work together, how long will it take them to finish the work? So, Sam and Jake can finish the work together in X hour. Okay, right? So we have here the proportion of the work. We have here 1 over X. That will be the proportion of the work. So, our hours will be X if they can finish the work together. So let's proceed. Step 2. Form the equation that describes the problem. So, as you have seen now, we have here the 1/3, which is here 1/3, which is some work, plus the work of Jake, which is 1/5. And the proportion of the work hour, which is 1 over X. Okay. Now, let's proceed to step 3. Let us solve the equation. Copy first the given. So this will be the given. And then, find the LCD. So our LCD here is 3. Yes. We have 3, 5, and X. What we're going to do now is to multiply it. 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. 15 times X is equal to 15X. So that is why we have here our LCD is 15X. So since that we get our LCD now, multiply the LCD both sides of the equation. So as you have seen now, we have 15x times the quantity of 1/3 plus 1/5 equals 1 over 6 times 15x. So, simplify it. We have here now 5x plus 3x is equal to 15. So 15x times 1 is equal to 15x. Divided by 3, we have 5x. That's why we have 5x here. And the next one is 15x times 1 is equal to 15x. Divided by 5 is equal to 3x. We have 3x here. And the last one is 15x times 1 is equal to 15x. Divided by x, so that is why we have here 15. Okay, Did you get it? So we have here now 8x is equal to 15. Why? Because 5x plus 3x is equal to 8x equals 15. Now, divide both sides by the numerical coefficient of x, which is 8. Divide it. We have here 8x over 8 and 15x over 8. Now, cancel, cancel. So the remaining one is 15 over x. Okay, so that will be our remaining. And now, we have here the x is equal to 15 over 8, or 1, 7 over 8 r. So that will be our answer. If Sam and Jake work together, they will finish the mathematics portfolio in just 1 hour and 52 minutes. 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 30 seconds. Convert it to hours. So this one is our final answer. So, and now, since that we're done in our rational function, let's proceed to the inverse function. What is inverse function? An inverse function that reverses another function. A function g is the inverse of a function f. If ever y is equal to f of x, then x is equal to g of y. Inverse function tells you what x had to be in order to get the value of y. The inverse function is denoted by f inverse. The f inverse. A function f has an inverse function, and if only for every y in its range there is only one value of x in its domain for which f of x is equal to y. Yes, that is our function. Now, the inverse function is a function that switches the input and output, but not all functions have inverse function. Remember that one. Now, let me show you the 4 steps on how to get the inverse function. First, you need to replace f of x with y. The second one is interchange x and y. The third one is solve for the new y from the equation in step 2. And fourth one is replace the new y to f inverse of x if the inverse is a function. Okay, so let's proceed to our problem solving involving inverse from the business world online. The exchange rate of the Philippine peso on March 10, 2019 was 52.35. Therefore, the formula that gives a Philippine peso in terms of Korean won on that day is P equals 52.35 W. P represent as Philippine peso, while the W is represent as Korean won. Find the represent Korean won in terms of Philippine peso on March 10, 2019. Now, let P be f of x and let W be x. Now, that will be P equals 52.35 W. And now, since we need to find its inverse, so change f of x to y. Let's change this one to y. Okay. So we have here y is equal to 52.35x. And the next one is, since that we need to isolate y, we need to divide both sides by 52.35. That is why we have here x, right? X over 52.35 and 52.35 over 52.35. Okay, that one. So, after we divide that one, cancel it out, then cancel it out. The remaining will be y equals x over 52.35. Okay, that will be the remaining after we divide it both sides by 52.35. So now, since that this is inverse, finding inverse, we need to change y. We need to change y into its inverse, which is f of x is equal to x over 52.35. Got it? So since that our x is 1, remember this one, we have here x over 52.35. 52.35. Since our x is equivalent to 1, what we're gonna do now is to here substitute the 1 to the inverse function, which is f of x is equal to 1 over 52.35. Now, as we divide it, if we divide it 1 divided by 52.35, the answer will be, which is 0.0991. So this will be our answer. Now, let's proceed to the another problem solving. Example number 2. Suppose I was traveling 25 miles per hour and want to know how far I have gone in x hours. Then this could be represented by the function f of x is equal to 25x. Now, I want to know the inverse. If I know I have traveled 55 miles, how have I been traveling for? So, we have here our solution. This will be our solution. Okay. First step is we're going to write the function. We have here f of x is equal to 25x. Then, change the f of x to y. So that's why we have here y is equal to 25x. And interchange x and y. We have here x over 25 equals 25. Y minus 25. Divided both sides. So that's why we have here cancel it and cancel. So the remaining will be y equals x over 25. That will be our remaining for the cancellation. Change y into the inverse. That's why we have here f inverse of x is equal to x over 25. So here we now. As the value over x is 55, since that the travel 55 miles, so the value over x is 55. Now, we're gonna substitute x to the inverse function. We have here f of x is equal to 55 over 25. So divide it. If we divide it, the result will be f inverse of x is equal to 2.2 hours. Okay. So that will be our answer. This 2.2 hours. Okay, so take note. Rational functions are functions where you have a polynomial both numerator and denominator. Then, the q of x should not be equal to 0, since it will make the function and define. That is for our rational function. Now, what about the inverse function? F inverse doesn't mean raising the function to the power of -1. It's not it. And then the next one, not all function has an inverse function. And now the last one is useful and important. Now, what is the useful and important? The useful of rational function. The rational formula can be useful tools for presenting real-life situations and for finding answers to real problems. Now, what is the importance of inverse function? The inverse of a function tells how to get back to the original value. So thank you so much for listening and watching to this video. God bless you guys and have a great day to us.